My name is Erin Whelchel. I'm the Outreach Manager at ACTFL, and I'd like to share with you today some resources available through ACTFL and also our Lead with Languages public awareness campaign that are going to help you boost advocacy efforts from your classroom, in the community, and also at the state level. So let's get started. I'll start by sharing with you some information about our Lead with Languages campaign. You may be familiar with the campaign. We launched in March of 2017. And it's an effort to promote language learning for students of all ages and all languages around the country, and to make sure all students have access to language programs moving forward. Something we're doing is educating a whole host of stakeholders, students, parents, administrators, academic and student advisors, business folks, about the benefits of learning a language and also the need for language skills to keep our country strong. So these are some figures that describe the current state of language education in the country. What we find really striking, I think, are the enrollment figures, where we're seeing 20% of K through 12 students and only 7.5% of college students currently enrolled in a language class. And of course, this has implications on a national security level, on an economic competitiveness level for the country at large. So when we're talking with students and parents and others about the need for language skills, we're also speaking about the different opportunities they may not be aware are available because of those skills. We know that students who learn another language have better communication skills, they have cognitive benefits that they're receiving from that, and they're also opening doors to more opportunities than they may be aware. So students may not be aware that nursing careers involve language skills. Careers in the legal profession, paralegals, engineers, soldiers, clerks, sales representatives, designers, IT information specialists. These are all careers that they're going to be able to employ those skills in. So to share some of this information with the broader public, we've created the website leadwithlanguages.org. Here's our homepage. And the site just has a lot of information for a variety of topics. We have 19 pages dedicated to a specific language. So students and their families can go here to find information on scholarships, programs that are available, student testimonials, videos. They may be interested in a few languages and not sure which one to choose among the ones their school offers or beyond that. And so they're able to come here to sort of parse that out as well and see where their interests may lie. We also have a really active blog, and so I like to think of the blog as sort of a big sibling for our students. You may be a student who comes to the site and you haven't had someone in your experience to talk about studying abroad possibly, or maybe you don't have someone who speaks another language in your experience, or you're a heritage student and so you're interested in hearing what other students who are using that heritage language are doing at home with their families, or you're looking to start a school club and you're looking for some inspiration with that. So it's a great place for students to get inspiration and motivation. But we're also sharing professional profiles where we're interviewing folks who are using these language skills on a daily basis. You see the first one here, Tamber, is a certified court interpreter. And so she's able to speak to her experience and give students kind of an insight into what that looks like and how that could be an option for them in the future. We also have a lot of advocacy resources here on the blog. So this is changing every week, and it's a good place to check up on news from the site. We know that we have a language educator shortage in at least 44 states, plus the District of Columbia, as of 2017, according to the Department of Ed research. And so something that we're doing to help bolster that pipeline of future educators so that we can keep these programs strong is to create the Lead with Languages Teacher Scholarship Program. This launched last year. We selected 10 scholars with our committee. And so these were high school students, seniors, who received $1,500 apiece for the first year of their college studies toward becoming a language educator. And this scholarship is renewable up to 4 times for a cumulative total of $6,000 that we're investing for those students to become language educators. They'll also receive a year of complimentary ACTFL membership afterwards, so we're able to help bring them into that network and make them feel that they're part of the community. And so hopefully those students will be with us for many years to come. So I'd like to talk on kind of a shifted gear, a little bit about research before we dive into some of the more practical things we can be doing to advocate for language programs. We may say, why research? Something that we're doing with our advocacy initiatives is to sort of demystify this concept of advocacy. Because when we talk to students and parents and educators as well, I hear a lot that advocacy is something that a certain few people do who are able to, those bold people who write to the New York Times or who go to the Hill and speak with a legislator directly. And of course, these are things that language educators and other advocates do. But something that we all do every day is advocate for language education whenever we're speaking with someone in our network positively about the experience, or when we show students the benefits of learning their language skills, and then those students are able to confidently display those skills and speak about language education with others. That's all advocacy. And so one of the most important things that can be in your toolkit as an advocate for language education or for anything is to have some data in your pocket, because you just don't know who your audience is going to be. So this could be a group of students, a group of administrators, someone from the school board, a parent, a colleague. And we have to have some data in our pocket that's able to strengthen our argument no matter what situation we're in. So we're comfortable with that data, we're able to move it around fluidly in our conversation. It doesn't look like something that we have like written down as a secret. That's something you're just able to use to support what you're doing confidently. And of course, we can't memorize all of the reports and have all of the data at our fingertips. So what I like to think is, let's have 5 or 6 key figures that we're really comfortable with and that you've practiced with, so that no matter who you're speaking to, you can adapt those figures to help strengthen your situation. And what we're also doing then is pairing those figures with what's even more important, and that's your personal story and your experience as an educator, because you've got hundreds of examples that you can pull from, and you can speak to your own personal experience in your school with your district, paired with some data. It makes for a perfect argument. So these are some of the facts you see on the screen that we've mentioned just so far in this presentation, and we've compiled some of these reports into a blog post on leadwithlanguages.org as part of our Eye on Advocacy series. So you're able to go click the links to those reports. They're from people like New American Economy, who has some great jobs data, reports developed through the campaign in ACTFL, the Department of Education, the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. All of these are in there, and you can go through and just choose a couple facts that are going to help support your case. So one of these sources that you'll want to look into is a report called Making Languages Our Business, and this is something ACTFL published last year with the campaign. We worked with Ipsos Public Affairs. They created a survey and they spoke to 1,200 US businesses about their demand for language skills. And some really surprising and strong data came out of this. So the report is available on the website. You see the link here at the bottom, /report. And you can see our executive summary, the full report with all of the listings, and then also some graphics that you're able to share once you're starting those advocacy efforts. So some things that came out of this report, we see that 9 out of 10 US businesses, when asked, say that they rely on employees with language skills. And a surprising quarter of businesses say that they've actually lost an opportunity because they don't have the employees with the language skills to fill that role. We have some really great Mythbuster material that came out of this report, where we hear from students or even parents at times, I don't need to learn a language, or this may not be helpful to me because I don't ever plan on living abroad long term, and my career will be here in the States. And so when we talk to the 1,200 US employers, about half of them say they're using those skills exclusively here in the States. But only 3% are using them exclusively abroad, which means 97% of the 1,200 employers surveyed are using language skills in their employees, at least a mixture of here and abroad. And so this is something that we can share with students and parents and others to say, no, this is actually skills that are valuable here in the country across sectors. These are departments within a company that are showing the demand for language skills. These are the top 5 you see here. I found this surprising that we see IT among the top 5 departments who are employing these language skills within companies. We often hear the rumor that IT and languages are sort of at odds, And I know that we're struggling for resources between the two of us a lot of times, but in addition to computing skills and computing languages, we're also needing world languages for those folks to speak with colleagues, to speak with customers. And so in the end, it's a really complementary skill that we can use together, the IT skills and the language skills, to make for a stronger economy and stronger individuals. Here you see the top few languages that businesses are saying are most in demand. And of course, Spanish is not a surprise here, but some of the less commonly taught languages are actually in quite large percentages in demand. And so this is something we can share to show students that no matter which language they're choosing, it's going to be in demand here in the States. So the question is, where do we go with this information and how do we take this to the next step? The business report is offering 7 recommendations for employers. And so we're really creating an ally among these businesses and saying, if you need people with these language skills, and you do, given the data, you're going to have to help contribute to building this pipeline of both educators and language programs that are available to students so that we're able to put those students in the roles in a couple of years. So the first 5 recommendations are really things that the businesses can do to leverage language skills and help themselves and support themselves. And that's like creating an analysis and an inventory of the skills that you already have among your employees, providing training, making this part of the recruitment process. The final 2 recommendations are really of interest to folks in the language education community, because here's where we're talking about building partnerships with those businesses, things that educators and schools can do to reach out to businesses and say, are there internships available? Are there ways that our students and our international departments can engage with you to create this pipeline so that students see the connection between their language studies and then future positions or opportunities that are available to them? And of course, the last one is for the employers and businesses to advocate directly with state and national government to promote language education programs so that the students do have those resources available to gain the language skills they need to help promote the economy. And it's been really refreshing to see this business report that we've put together picked up in so many media for different verticals in all different sectors of the economy. So we're seeing publications like BizEd, Professional Roofing, ForConstructionPros.com, Food Logistics. And these media are interested in the importance and the demand for language skills in their sector, which puts us in conversations with folks that we don't always get to speak to as language educators, and that we're all interested in the same topics so that we're able to bring the country forward together. So this has been a really interesting mix of what's happened with the report since it's been published. And we continue to see interest in this, which is also really helpful. So the last step is, okay, I'm ready. What are some things I can do on a really practical level to get this rolling either in my classroom or out in the community, or to get my students and their parents and families involved in this? And this is the part where we say, it doesn't have to start with the op-ed to the New York Times, right? There are things you can do immediately this afternoon that are going to be promoting language education and make you instantly an advocate for the profession. Some things you can do on a very simple level would be to share the Lead with Languages campaign and also the report with the people in your immediate network to make sure everyone's aware. And sometimes we're surprised. We don't know that the student counselor down the hall is not aware of some of these facts or the benefits of learning a language. And so having this in her toolkit may actually help her have conversations with students as well. So that's our first step. I think starting a conversation with students about this and kind of getting a feel for what they really understand about the future may be helpful. So something I like to do is have everyone pull up on their phone Monster or Indeed or one of the jobs listing sites, have the students choose their language that they're learning and the city that they would like to live in or the city that you're located in, and see in 2 or 3 minutes the kinds of jobs that they can pull up that require their language skills. So you may choose Japanese skills in Cincinnati in a 25-mile radius, or French skills in Baltimore, and see what those students are pulling up. And this is going to give them a lot of really practical insight into what's immediately available to them and things they may not have thought of before. One of the most important things you can do and it's in conjunction with arming yourself with that data, is to invite people into your classroom so that when they have an image of the language classroom, it is your language classroom that they're thinking about. And so this starts with parents and other members of your community, but it goes beyond that into board members, administrators, local legislators. Have them come into your classroom so that those decision makers, when they pull up the language classroom in their head, they're thinking about your program. And it's much more difficult to put a program at risk when you understand that it's a dynamic, engaging classroom such as yours, and not that classroom that they're thinking about from perhaps their childhood when things were done differently. And so you really want to get eyes in there and show them what you've built and what your students are doing and the cool things that you're doing. And if you're not able to have people immediately in your classroom, then to share your classroom with external sources. So maybe have students do a volunteer project and get some local news or media coverage, and show the community what's going on in your classroom. Open those doors. We've also developed a language advocacy toolkit. It's linked here below, so that you can look at activities that you don't have to reinvent the wheel for. These are things that may take one class. It kind of goes in that order, shorter things at the top. Start a conversation with students, explore a podcast about this, do the job search activity, and then builds to more involved things such as starting a speaker series to have students see different professionals using those language skills, or even undergraduates or alumni of your school who are using those language skills in ways that could inspire your students to keep with it for more than the required amount of classes they need to do. Of course, when you're ready, there are things at the state level you can be doing as well. Right away, we think of the Seal of Biliteracy, which is growing across the country. And if that's available in your state, definitely work to have that implemented in your school. You can also reach out to your broader network, whether that's through a blog post, your social media channels, or just others that you know in the community to speak about the power of language skills. And of course, when you are ready to do that, ACTFL has a lot of resources on the website and also the Lead with Languages site for you to reach out to state and national legislators' offices, look at legislation that's coming down the line that you may actually be able to write about specifically as alerts come up, and so you can stay abreast of all of that. And of course, you have the report with that data, so you're able to share that to media sources, local reporters, news organizations, or go ahead and write that op-ed and send it in. So thank you so much for having me with you today. If you have any questions, my contact information is here. Would love to hear from you. And if you have feedback for the site or someone that we should be interviewing for a professional profile, please do let me know, and take good care. Thank you.